Well, uh, first of all, I'd like to start my presentation with a simple question. How many of you would know the average consumption of red chilies in Sri Lanka? Let's say, in other words, the per capita consumption of red chilies. Any guesses? 50. Good. Alright. We'll find out. In the middle of my presentation, I will be exposing you the accurate figures. I'm Nuwan C Perera, presenting Post-Clearance Audit Directorate, and today I'll be presenting my research report. So this will be the content briefly, and let's get to the statistics first. The red dried chilies consumption. According to the central bank, 96.4% of Sri Lankans are consuming red dried chilies in their daily meal preparation. So in every household, we use red chilies. Not only that, but also 96.5% of Sri Lankans purchase it from the market. So that purchase should be supplied with either market local production or with the import of red dried chilies. So let's see the supply side of red dried chilies. According to the data found from the Field Crop Research Institute, so we can see there's a gradual increase in the imports of red dried chilies, whereas we can see a decline of red dried chilies production locally. So as border protectors, as the people who are protecting our lives of our Sri Lankan citizens, we have a huge responsibility in this regard. So my project is about reducing the import of carcinogenic red dried chilies. So annually we import more than 3,000 containers of red dried chilies to Sri Lanka. And as per the provisions of the Food Act 26 of 1980, Director General of Customs is the key controller of import food. So as customs officers, we have a huge gravity on this. And according to an investigation carried out by the Risk Management Unit in 2019, it was found that there were 39 containers of red dried chilies which were imported to Sri Lanka and subsequently released to the warehouse of the importer, were disposed to the market without the approval of the customs. This was a very good investigation and finding which was found by the Risk Management Unit. And not only that, now we can see the average consumption of red dried chilies is 2.84 kilograms of. The illnesses caused by the food which are not good for the consumption are a huge concern for the country. And also, cancer is always not caused by the genetic factors. The food that we consume is also a cause of cancer. So it's paramount important for us to make sure that the citizens of Sri Lanka, our country people, are getting the best quality food and they are rightly examined and tested before the release. Having a glorious over 200 years of history, Sri Lankan Customs, as you all know, contributing to more than 55% of the national tax revenue. And my project is mainly focused on the Central Cargo Examination Directorate, which is under the Revenue and Services Cluster. I have carried out a detailed SWOT analysis. You can refer my report and that would be found. And as you all know, the clearance of red dried chilies is mainly based on the sample test reports. As customs officers, we have no technical expertise to find whether the food are good for human consumption. So the officers, the food and drug inspectors in the Food Control Administration Unit help us, assist us in carrying out the sample tests, and we release the consignments to the warehouses of the consignees so that on the condition that they are not allowed to dispose them to the market. But there are certain instances where they have disposed to the market without getting the approval of Sri Lanka Customs. So I have analyzed my problem using an Ishikawa diagram, where I have found three main components. Sample checking is the first component, and I have found four major issues. And in terms of compliance management of traders, there are another three issues found. And also there was another component which is training and awareness. Under training and awareness, I have found another 3. So altogether, there were 9 issues were found. So we are trying to address those 9 issues and come up with a better solution. Well, this is my study framework with 3 components, and finally trying to reduce the import of carcinogenic red dye chilies. Alright, so this is the first component. And I have found 3 issues. And this is the first issue I would like to say. When we are carrying out sample tests, usually it takes a lot of time. In 2019, as per the records of 2019, sometimes it took more than 12 days. So practically, a consignee cannot wait and keep that consignment in their warehouse until that sample test is done, because that is the red dye chilies in nature, they are perishable, so they cannot keep. So then that would give them a bad or rather losses. So we have to re-engineer the sample test process, and I have came up with 2 solutions mainly focused in the sample test process. There are 2 stakeholders other than customs involved in this process. The first stakeholder is the food administration unit, and other than that, the accredited laboratories who carry out those tests are another stakeholder. So we need to I have actually developed the memorandum of understanding so that we can efficiently streamline these processes, and also we can make sure that those lapses are not there by making a very strict protocol and in carrying out the sample tests. By doing that, I'm actually expecting to reduce the time taken to perform the quality checks by 75%, from 12 days to 1 to 3 days. We can introduce them like one day service, things like that, so that the consignees can pay a premium and they get their work done early as possible. And not only that, for our investigation purposes, we usually use a reference sample which is kept at the RCT food inspectors warehouse. There is a lack of storage facility in the storage of food inspectors in RCT. So I have proposed DCCED to build a RFID, which is radio frequency identification technology enabled storage facility, so that we can refer the samples very easily. And by doing that, I'm expecting to reduce the time taken to refer the samples by 80%, which is from 5 hours to less than 1 hour. And my component 2, which is the compliance management of traders. So we have to work on that as well. So I have found 2 major issues where importers with inadequate warehouse capacity are currently importing goods, so that then after the import they have no warehouse facility for that. So we can, if it is possible, at the registration of import itself, if we can verify the warehouse facility, so that only the consignees who have the warehouse facility will import goods. So that is I have also proposed. And also, currently we have no control system to monitor the warehouses. So we release the goods to the warehouses, and we are not monitoring whether they are keeping the goods at the particular warehouse at right quantities and in actual quantities. So we have to establish a system to randomly check and monitor the warehouses of the consignees who have the goods which are released on a conditional guarantee, on a personal guarantee. And in terms of training and awareness, there are certain areas that we need to build our capacities of officers of customs in office administrative side, as well as in terms of IT literacy. So I have proposed to conduct 2 annual trainings, so that the officers who are in the CCED will be well equipped with the current IT trends, as well as with the office administrative knowledge. And also we need to create awareness. Public as well as importers and all the stakeholders who are importing those red dye chilies are not having proper awareness of whether they to import the right quality, good quality products. So the suppliers, they need to find good suppliers. So if they find good suppliers, they can get their consignments clear very speedily. So then there will be no hassle for them. So we can make the importers aware, so that they can source the goods from good quality suppliers even at a small premium price. So these are my summary of solutions where I have found uh, 9 major issues, and I came up with 10 solutions, and which are very clearly mentioned in my report. And this is the team structure and budget, and the first two components do not cost us anything, because that is, of course, we can use our own resources to make sure that to improve the processes, and to conduct trainings and awareness programs by budgeting 40,000 rupees. That would be the only cost in this project. And let's take a benefit cost analysis. So if you take 12 days, there would be 9 days difference. So for that, then the consignee has to pay a demurrage, which is 1,500 per day. So if you take 2,460 containers a year, so the total cost for the importer would be over 33 million. So that would eventually will be have to burn by the consumer, because that will be passed to the consumer. So our consumers will be paying a cost which is not actually necessary. So then we can reduce those costs, as well as we can make sure, in terms of intangible benefits, we can make sure that we are allowing our Sri Lankan citizens to eat good food, so then we can be happy of ourselves as well. And also, this improves productivity, and that would definitely improve the trader compliance, as well as that we can better utilize our resources, because currently sometimes there are instances where under using the resources, so we can optimize the usage of our resources. And also in our investigations, that this will make sure the traceability in law enforcement as well. And the trader awareness, the traders will be aware, so then they will have better competitive advantage over the inferior good suppliers. The importers who are importing good quality products will have a better market share, so then they will be also happy. So that is from my project, and thank you.
Thank you, Nuwan. Indeed, I am impressed about the proposals that you presented during the presentation, and you will know that we are going to shift our examination yards to a different place, where all the yards will be kept together, and there your proposal could be implemented, and suggest all the ADGs take care of that, and then make use of him as a resource person to. That is a good thing. He has come out with a good proposal. Why not that we implement it? So those are not going to be very costly. And I have only one question, as I have only limited time. Now this is, I think, you are referring to aflatoxin.
Yes, sir.
So you talk about the importation and the aflatoxin that could be there in the chilies that are imported. What about the chilies that are produced here, cultivated here? Do they have aflatoxin?
As per my knowledge, as what I have heard, actually, the local produced crops have sometimes more aflatoxin than the imported.
So we have the immunity.
Yeah. We have
So we can consume even coconut oil,
exactly.
palm oil, anything.
Yeah.
No, sir.
Exactly.
Actually, I went through the report. If your report, first of all, you have to establish how the aflatoxin comes.
Yeah.
So it's actually from the rainwater. Wetness is not properly maintained. It used to come. Even after the sampling, it might, if you keep this one in a closed chamber for 14 days, you may get.
Yes.
So when the sampling is occurred, it is not there. But when it puts to the market, there might be. So it is not reflected to mere report.
Yeah.
And one more proposal is, I think nowadays the online test, that means in the field test, equipments are available to test the aflatoxin within 3 hours time. Even the food inspector can check, but it is costly. The machine is very costly. That one is a good proposal. I think you can include in your proposal. Because that limit the time, because we are safeguard. Because now you see the sampling is today and the report comes after 14 days. But sample is negative, but physically it might be positive. So if it is online, the instant field test, we are safe. So we can say at the time of taking, no aflatoxin.
Yes.
That one I think you can include in your report.
Thank you, Terry. Thank you. And one piece of advice to you: don't stop your studies here. Don't stop your research. Okay. Because most of our farmers are uneducated and they they do not know about this, and even importers. So you may have to make them aware as to what this chemical and how it affects, etc., and what precaution measures to be taken, etc., without harassing, because they call it harassment. So we must not harass the people, but we must make them aware in a very polite way that they are citizens, are people. So uh, keep up your good work and do well.
Thank you, sir.
I regret my inability to stay here to listen to other two presentation, and I hope that it will be taken care of by my DTCs, and then your guides are also here. Good to be at the temple by them.